Hey, you guys, Andy McDermott here, rookie Spartan Ultra K in training. Uh, I should say self-torture in training. Today I have a fantastic special guest. This is Damian Hall, a professional racer, coach, rider, world record holder. I can't even put enough accolades in my intro for Damian. So as per my norm, I'm going to ask Damian to brag about himself a little bit and say hello to you guys. So, Damian, I'm forcing you to be unhumble and please brag about yourself a little bit.
Hello, Andy. Well, thank you firstly for having me on. Yeah, us Brits I'm stereotyping a bit, but we're not very comfortable sort of in these situations. I suppose I would say I've been an ultra marathon runner for just over a decade. I'm 47, so it was sort of a midlife crisis when I discovered it really, and just the joy of I think long distances and lumpy places. A particular favorite being sort of 100 miles or more. It's somewhere mountainous or somewhere beautiful. I suppose I got a bit carried away after 4 years after my first ultra marathon. I was in the Great Britain trail running team, and sort of setting some records along the way and doing some of the tougher races. Not always winning them necessarily, but challenging for them. And probably my best ever result is the biggest race on the calendar is Ultra Trail de Mont Blanc, UTMB in France, and my best result there is fifth. Back when I was a younger pup anyway. And more recently, I've done the Spine race in Britain a few times. I won that in January. That's sort of 268 miles in winter. So they're certainly some of my highlights in terms of sporting achievements. But yeah,
That's
I just love it. Yeah.
what you just said is absolutely mind blowing, and somehow you said it with British humility still. Kudos to you for somehow talking about things that most humans couldn't even dream about, but saying it in a self-deprecating manner, which is incredible. Um, so thank you for being here. Before I jump in to the Fast Five, can you remember what it was that did you grow up as like a cross country athlete, or what was it that made you think, hey, I'd like to go and run 100 miles?
Well, yeah, I think over here we lack some of the sort of infrastructure and the facilities that you guys have. I think this whole sort of collegiate system supporting sport, we
Yeah,
don't really have that as far as I can tell. Now I did so a bit like you actually at school. I played football or soccer as you prefer, but I was like
yeah,
usually sub for the school team. Like I wasn't very
yeah,
good, but I loved it.
yeah.
And I do remember jumping into a cross country race, my first ever one in the school, and I was sort of top 10 and thinking, oh, okay, well, I'm not bad at running, but I'd prefer to run with a ball. That's a bit more exciting. Um, and I did win some cross country at around sort of 17, 18. I did win some, local cross country races at school, but it just wasn't a cool sport and there wasn't much encouragement or coaching. And so I sort of pretty much gave it up and didn't run till I was about 30, 36, I think. And I did a half marathon when I was feeling a bit unfit and just loved it and was like, oh wow, running without a ball is actually really exciting. But then I realized people were running on trails and hills and mountains. And I was like, oh, what I was already quite into trekking and long distance hikes. And so that to me that was a combination of the two, just a big day out in the hills. And you could run the downhills, run the flats, and go a bit quicker, travel a bit lighter. And then I started discovering all these races and just really fell into it there. So I guess I've always been active, but never excelled at any other sport. And then, the good thing is ultra marathon running, there aren't that many people doing it, so it's kind of easier to sneak towards the top. So I
Right.
quite quickly found I was quite competitive, I suppose. So that's been very exciting as well.
That's fantastic. I got to ask, as a football guy, do you have a favorite club?
Oh, definitely the Arsenal. Yes,
Oh, it's a
yes,
good time to be an Arsenal fan.
absolutely. Yeah, got my mug here. Um,
Wow. Okay, there's proof. There's proof. He's not just a
who
rainy
do you
day
who do
fair
you
weather
follow in
fan.
England before we have to cancel the rest of the show?
You know, um, I grew up not knowing much about international football at all because I think we're close to the same age. I say this all the time, but when we were kids, there was no internet, right? And over here in the States, there was no football on TV. So the first time I ever saw international football was the 1994 World Cup when it came to Soldier Field here in Chicago. So I
Yeah.
didn't grow up knowing much. Now I have four kids who are all football players, and my two boys. My oldest loves the Leeds. because he's a massive Tyler Adams fan, and of course, he's gotten into that culture of being it's hard to be a Leeds fan, right? But it's almost self. I don't know. It's like they suffer through being Leeds fans, which is great. And then my 15-year-old, you're not going to like this, is a Manchester City fan, which stems from him being a massive Kevin De Bruyne fan. So
Okay,
because
okay.
he's a central midfielder, and
He
we
is a
actually
major player.
I took the boys over. We did a surprise trip at the holidays on Boxing Day, and we got to see Fulham at Palace, and then we went up to Leeds and got to see City at Leeds.
Oh
And
wow.
still, I mean, I've been a sports fan my entire 47 years, and that's probably the best sporting experience ever been a part of. Just
Oh,
the
brilliant.
atmosphere in Leeds, it was amazing. So
Oh, wonderful.
so
Wonderful.
yeah. So it was great. So all right, Damien. So here comes the fast five. Five random questions. Don't think too much. First thing that pops into your head.
I'm nervous.
Ready?
Right. Sitting
Okay.
comfortably. Yes, go.
Favorite thing to eat?
Oh, chocolate.
Nice. Movie you will probably watch at least five more times.
Oh, good one. I love the Lord of the Rings films.
Ooh, ooh. I knew that we were going to be friends. Um, if you listen to music for workouts or running, what type of music would that be?
Yeah, this is tricky because I like sort of morose, wailing indie music.
Ooh,
Bands like, well, actually, my very favorite band are American, the National. But actually, that sort of stuff, and in Britain, I love Radiohead and the Smiths, and that sort of stuff isn't great for when you're. It's not very motivational. So when I'm actually running, more like I suppose New Order, a bit something a bit
okay.
electronic, a bit more bouncy. Yeah, let's say New Order for now. But
Yep,
first
yep.
one come
Great
to mind.
answer.
Yeah.
Great answer. Here's a hard one because you've traveled so much. Most beautiful place you've been,
Oof.
or or
Oh,
or or one of them. I know that's hard for someone well traveled.
I'm gonna say Patagonia. Yeah,
Wow,
Patagonia, southern
wow,
Argentina and Chile. Yeah,
wow.
yeah, no, I'm very lucky.
Amazing. And then we may have just hit on this one, but favorite athlete or sports team to watch?
Wow, favorite team, yeah, the glorious Gunners, yeah, for quite a few years haven't been that great fun to watch,
Right,
but this
right,
year they
right.
are. So,
It's a good
yeah,
time to ask you that question. Right, right,
yes,
right.
thank you.
Okay, okay. Mentally, do you feel warmed up, loosened up after the fast
I'm
five?
exhausted. That was exhausting. I'm done. I'm done.
All right, all right. Now I'm going to move into these questions are from a rookie's perspective, like me, but also a lot of my friends and followers and people that I interact with on social media and YouTube. Um, I'm hoping that through my suffering of this, and the secret is I'm actually enjoying putting my phone down and going and running long and slow distances. I'm actually enjoying that quite a lot. So I'm hoping to inspire maybe some fellow dads, moms, 40 somethings, that there's more to the fitness life than just the elliptical. So, from that perspective, here are some of my rookie questions. So, let me start with nutrition. And you're obviously in incredible physical shape. How do you describe your intake? Do you follow a certain type of intake?
I,
And how's that work for you?
Yeah, I mean, for 2 years actually, I've been vegan. But
Yeah.
that wasn't for performance. That was more for sort of my impact on the planet. Um,
Uh,
However, for performance, I feel exactly the same. If I'm honest, you have to be a bit more careful to make sure you're getting enough calories in and enough protein in. And
yeah.
I do take 2 or 3 sort of vitamin supplements just to be sure. Um, but yeah, I've been a vegan athlete for well probably 2.5 years now, and had no issues there, no problems.
Yeah.
Um, I guess but the number one thing for if you're training reasonably hard, number one thing is to get enough calories in actually.
Sure.
You don't want to be under fueled, especially when you want to try and run fast or run far. um I guess my philosophy is kind of like 80% healthy and 20% a bit more gray area.
Yeah.
Because you definitely don't want to be hungry and think, oh, I shouldn't reach for that bit of cake.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate if you're trying to get into running for weight loss. It's a slightly different approach, but I would say for an athlete, if you're hungry, reach for something. But sometimes it's the snacks. It's thinking of. I mean, I love say dried nuts. Fruit and nuts. Like that's a really good healthy snack to grab instead of a chocolate bar or crisps. Sorry, chips. I think you call them.
Right, right.
I start each week with a massive tub full of nuts and raisins, and I get through them all.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's largely how I fuel, I suppose.
Yep, I love it. I love it. And I love the idea of the 80-20. I've said that myself as a fitness trainer is I feel like trying to be 100% good all the time is impossible. So don't
Yeah,
even set that goal,
yeah.
It's a mental break as well. Okay, I love it. Great answer. Next question. Can you think of what you might describe as the hardest challenge or event that you have tried? And I know who I'm talking to, so that's a very hard question.
It probably it probably is the event I've just attempted, which is the Barkley Marathons over there in Tennessee. Um, we could be here all day trying to describe it, but it's kind of the stats speak for themselves. So it's been going since 1986, and there's only ever been 17 finishers.
Wow.
So it's a loop you have to do in the woods, in the mountains, in the woods. That's about a marathon, about 26 miles. But it's totally self-navigating, and it's very very steep, and there are cut-offs. So and once you do one loop, often they'll send you back. The next loop will be in the dark or the opposite direction, and you've got to find these books in the woods. And it's really really hard. And I've just attempted it. I managed 4 out of the 5 loops, and I was willing to go on for a 5th loop. I just couldn't. It was taking me too long to find one of the books, and I kind of ran out of time. So I
Wow.
was willing to carry on. I hope to go back next year, but it was the mental fatigue there. Like it wasn't just the physical stuff. You have to be alert all the time. So we're talking nearly 60 hours, and I must have been out there for about 50. So the mental, yeah, you're just not as
Yeah.
clever by
Yeah.
then as you were at the
Yeah.
start.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. That's incredible. And I read something about it's really hard to even get accepted into the race. Is that right?
Yes. So they're only allowed 40 people in the race each year, just because the park wants to keep, doesn't want the trails to be trashed and so on. So I was waiting for 2 years to get in, and yeah,
Wow.
and it's a secret how you get in. There's no
Yeah. Yeah.
website, and it's
Yeah.
definitely massively oversubscribed. Hundreds of people want to do it each time. So it's
Yeah.
become a huge thing.
Yeah. Right. Sheesh. That's a hard challenge even just to get there. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
And next question is, what's next for you? What are you training for right now? And what does that make an average day look like for you?
Well, yeah, I'm just in recovery mode now, really, because it was only a
Yeah.
week ago. Um,
Yeah.
but my next really big one will be, yeah, not till September, which is the Tour de Gion, which is it's about 220 miles in the Italian Alps, a big circuit in the mountains, which takes kind of 3 or 4 days. Um, Before that, I'll probably do a 100-mile race in the mountains in sort of July as preparation. So
Okay.
but I'm sort of right back at the beginning now. So I'm almost, yeah, haven't run for a week, but I'll run tomorrow. Just sort of 4 or 5 easy miles. I suppose when I'm training hard, um, average run would be about 10 miles. And then in the afternoon, there might be a little bit of strength work, or occasionally a second easy run, um, or a physio visit. Um, but yeah, I'd probably average around 70 miles a week. So not like epic mileage, but comparable to I suppose a sort of keen amateur marathon runner.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, hopefully that's
And
enough
and
insight.
when you're in full training mode, is that seven days a week? Do you take a recovery day or?
Always one full rest day. Always, yeah.
Yep.
I think that's
Yep.
quite important. And yeah, and trying to maximize sleep. I increasingly find, as I mature, sleep gets more and more precious and important. So
Yeah.
yeah, trying to get 8 hours of sleep each night. Yeah, eating well. I often think it's the things around the running that you do that can make all the difference, even if it's just avoiding injury, and then you get
Yeah.
another quality week or month. But yeah, you've got to think. I think of your whole lifestyle of I hardly drink alcohol as well. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you've got to think of all those things are going to impact your running.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that is wise words right there. Um, Next question here is about gear. You are an Innovate athlete, right? And I'm an Innovate fan, a longtime fan and user of Innovate. So with Innovate gear, with other gear that you use, like how do you choose what to bring with you on a race? Do you wear a vest? How do you choose your shoes? I know that's a big topic there, but is there some kind of advice you can give there?
Yeah, I think especially with shoes, it is very personal. You know, we all have quite different feet. I mean, mine are pretty ugly. They've got a weird lump on the sort of top, and so a shoe that really works for me. Someone will say to me, "What shoes should I wear?" And I'll say these, and they'll say, "Oh, they didn't fit me at all."
Yeah,
So I think really number one thing is try and work out the shoes that will fit for you, and that might take a few months. You know, it might take 2 or 3 different pairs. Um, so that's probably more important than the grip, although Innovate do great, great grip, and especially if you're doing something with obstacles or mud, you want that grip. But number one thing is, yeah, if you're going for a long time, you don't ideally you hope you don't want blisters or other foot problems. So number one thing is comfort. Then I think it's grip. Um, they're my two things with the shoes, and then the rest of it, I think it is, it's try out in training, hopefully is in similar conditions as possible. And yeah, I mean, there will be a bit of trial and error at times. But yeah, I mean, I've been with Innovate 7 or 8 years, and yeah, a lot of their kit is yeah, long lasting and worked really well for me
yeah,
over time. And yeah, I mean, if it hasn't, I give them some feedback, and yeah, they tend to improve things over time.
yeah.
But yeah, a lot of it is quite personal, I do think.
Yeah, right. My wife and two sons and I watched the documentary a few weeks ago of you doing what was the FKT
Oh, on the
documentary.
Pennine Way, on the Pennine Way,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
KTFKT.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just noticing how many different wardrobe changes you had throughout the time because it seemed like the climate kept changing.
Well, I got pretty, yeah, and you get pretty smelly too. So and it's a chance to show off the Innovate catalog. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
once you get wet, if you can change, I would say with socks especially, socks are a good one to change in a race if you've got the chance. And yeah, wet feet for a long time is likely to cause blisters. So socks are a good one to change.
yeah,
And sometimes just a change of top, as you'll know, is quite refreshing sometimes, isn't it? So yeah.
yeah, yeah. Right, right, right. Great answer there. Thank you. And two more questions here, Damien. Here is a day before a big race. What does that look like for you? Are you running? Are you resting? Are you sleeping? Are you eating? What have you found a secret recipe there?
Yeah, it's probably a bit of all those things, but definitely as little stress as possible. So
Mm.
I would almost like ban the laptop, maybe almost ban the phone. Like I definitely nearly always. So usually there is a short run the day before, but usually the day before that no run for me. Just about three easy miles in the morning maybe, and then you're just trying to be as restful as possible. Hopefully you've got all your kit packed and all your admin sorted before that. And ideally, I love to sit back and try and watch a film. Um, Probably nothing to do with running. Yeah, Lord of the Rings or
Yeah,
something I don't know, easy to watch and fun, and that'll just
yeah,
distract me so that I'm not wasting too much mental energy on the race.
yeah,
Yeah, I find that really works for me. And also, nor quite often my family aren't there because I'm somewhere away from home. So phoning home and having a chat puts it all in perspective as well, I think, because like my kids don't really care. I don't know if yours are the same, but they'll treat me pretty much the same whether I won the race or I DNF'd. So
right,
they don't
right.
really care that much. So just
Yeah,
having a chat to them is quite grounding, and then yeah, a film to distract myself. So yeah, it's about try not to waste mental energy, I think, and try and remember this is what you love. Remember that this
yeah,
is this is the good stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Right, right. Man, I love it. I love it. Last question here. If you've done OCR or a big ultra, is there a race day secret for a rookie? And I like to call this a lesson you've learned the hard way. Is there anything that you can save me some pain on, or you'll look like a stupid moron if you do this, or anything like that?
Yes, I think the number one thing, the thing that springs to mind actually is this little mantra, which is low mood, eat food. Um,
Mm,
because it's quite, we tell ourselves we're going to fuel well during a race, but yeah, once you're a couple of hours in, I always start fueling within the first hour. So it's yeah, little and often. But whenever you think something negative, like oh, this is harder than I felt, or I'm doing rubbish, or I've put the wrong socks on, nearly always getting some calories in, and suddenly you're like not thinking negatively anymore. So usually it's a calorie deficit, and it's so hard to fuel sort of optimally all the time for these things. So low mood, eat food. Any negative thought, stick something in at first. That doesn't always solve everything, but maybe it will. I think that's the number one thing for me. And then obviously, yeah, probably after that, it's probably pacing it, and we all probably know what to do and not to do there. We've probably all gone out too hard in a variety of races, and so often if you can just chill a little bit, the race isn't won in the first couple of miles or the first hour. Well, depending on the length of the race, but it can be lost there. You can mess yourself up there. So the pacing, often it's thinking of the long game. Be the tortoise. Be the fastest tortoise, not the hare. I would say those are the two things. And then thirdly, if it's really going to get tough, think of your why. Like, why are you doing this? Hopefully you've decided beforehand what is motivating you, and cling to that. That'll be very individual for different people. Cling to that idea when it gets really hard, is why am I doing this? What's my why? I think those three things should help, I would hope.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I have just written this one down.
Oh, good.
That is one of my new rules for life, right there. I love that.
Absolutely.
Well, Damian, thank you so much. Where can people? I'm sure that you're going to find some new fans, some folks who are in my world who now want to be in your world. How can people find you? Are you Instagram, Facebook, website? Like, where do you update the most so that people can stay up to date on what you're doing?
If I haven't put everyone off, I quite like Instagram the most. So on there, I think I'm ultra Damo or ultra_Damo.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, anyone's welcome to come and interact, and yeah, I try and I just love a good mountain running photo, I suppose. So yeah, I quite like it.
I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't really? Well, I can't thank you enough. Apologize that my little co-pilot here, George, has been walking around. I don't know if you've seen George. This is
I've seen him, but he's well behaved. He's not made too much noise. Hi, George.
Yeah, right. And he's not much of a running partner, I got to be honest. He's much more of a sleeping and eating partner. But he's called Georgie Best, named after George Best, who played for Manchester United. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. He's not quite as thin or fast, of course, but. So Damian Hall, thank you so much for your generous time here, and best of luck in the future. I can't wait to follow you even more and watch your successes. Thanks for the inspiration as well.
Thank you so much, Andy, and best of luck for the Spartan Ultra. I'll be following along as well. Good luck.
Thanks. It'll be a huge success if I don't go to the hospital. So that's my bar is right there. So thanks, Damian. Enjoy the rest of your day, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Best wishes. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.